Hi everyone, welcome back. In this lesson, we'll go over the cryptocurrency trading exchange UI. So here's an overview of the lesson. This lesson will stand as an overview of general cryptocurrency trading exchanges and their user interfaces. Generally, it could be applicable to really any exchange, whether it's Coinbase, Kraken, Bitfinex, Femex, etc. We'll discuss order types, including maker versus taker orders. We'll go over stop loss orders and how to best implement them for your risk management and protecting your trading account. And we'll also talk about exchange order book analysis. So here's an example of a cryptocurrency trading exchange user interface. This is actually Coinbase. This is Coinbase Pro, and here you see we are currently looking at the Bitcoin order book and looking at various different aspects of the trading exchange, and we're going to break down each one of these sections for those of you who are not familiar on how to read the order book or how to read what's going on, reading all the open orders, etc. So we'll first start off with orders. So when trading cryptocurrency or stocks, you interact with the market exchange by placing an order. And there are two main types of orders. The first is a market order, which is an instruction to buy or sell immediately at the current market value of the asset. And then there's the limit order, which is an instruction to wait until the price of the asset hits a set number before being fulfilled. We're first going to talk about limit orders in depth. So limit order is an order that does not fulfill immediately. It's placed on the order book with a specific price set to execute at, meaning that it'll only execute at the price that you set it to. It won't just immediately happen. And this specific limit price is determined by the order creator, so the trade only executes if the market value price of the asset reaches that limit price. It's often used to set up a buy at a lower price of what the asset is going for, and it's often used to set up a sell at a higher price than what the current market is going for. So let's say Bitcoin is currently trading at $41,000 per Bitcoin. If you happen to think that, yeah, I want to buy in, but you think it's going to go lower in the near future, or you don't necessarily want to buy at 41, maybe you want to buy it at 37K. You can set up a limit order saying that, hey, I'm willing to purchase this much of a Bitcoin, let's say maybe a whole Bitcoin, half a Bitcoin, and you want to purchase it at $37,000. The order will be placed on in the exchange, and it will not execute until the market price meets your limit order. And same thing with the sell. Let's say Bitcoin is trading at 41,000 and you have a whole Bitcoin. You want to sell it, but you think it's going to go higher in price. You don't want to sell it at 41K. Maybe you want to sell it at 44. You can set up a limit sell order and set it so that it only will fulfill at 44K. Now, with limit orders, it's important to understand that they're considered market makers because they are not executed immediately. We're going to go into more depth on what market makers are and the differences between a market maker and a market taker. Now, anyone who's trading as a market maker, typically they will have lower exchange fees due to being classified as a market maker order. They're adding to the order book rather than a market taker who takes from the order book. So just know, at least for now, that when you are creating a limit order, you are creating an order and it gets added to the order book, right? It's not immediately fulfilled. It's something that will get fulfilled if price meets that limit, that criteria, and therefore it's not immediately executed. You're adding it to the order book and you're adding it for future usage. Here's a brief tutorial on how to set up a limit order. So let's say you wanted to buy Bitcoin at a lower price than what it's currently traded at. you would go to the trade section in your exchange, and you would choose whether or not you want to buy or sell Bitcoin. Here we see on Coinbase, the options look like this. So let's say I wanted to buy, I would select buy and then select limit. You would then input the amount of Bitcoin you wish to purchase and units of Bitcoin, which would be the amount, and the price you wish to buy it at, the limit. Now, for a lot of exchanges, if you input your limit price first, let's say you want to buy Bitcoin at 37K, right? Or in this situation, Bitcoin last traded price was 33K. So let's say Bitcoin's trading at 33K. If you, let's say you wanted to buy Bitcoin at 30 or maybe 31, you could put in that limit price for 31K, and depending on the exchange, you'll typically see an option for max. So you'll be able to max out the amount of Bitcoin you can purchase based on the size of your trading account. It's based on the size of your account, the capital available on the account. You can just hit max, and that'll allow you to buy the maximum amount of Bitcoin you can purchase, you can afford at that given price that you've selected. Moving on to market orders. So market orders are the main other kind of order type in trading. So market orders are used to execute a buy or sell immediately, regardless of price. They work similarly to a command such as at the current price, do X, right? At the current price, either buy, or at current price, sell. Let's say you want to buy 3 Bitcoin and Bitcoin's trading at $28,000 a coin. Maybe you don't want to wait for it to drop lower to buy at a better price, and you'd prefer to secure the price right now by buying now, right? Like you think, all right, Bitcoin's going to go over 30K. Right now it's 28. I don't want to set a limit order and wait for it at 27 or something. I just want to buy it now. That way I can secure that I'm in the trade, or I can market sell to secure that I'm out of the trade. It works both ways. In this situation, a market buy order would be placed and immediately filled. Note that market orders are immediately matched with the lowest limit sell orders in the order book. And this is where we get that interchange and why market orders are considered market takers as opposed to limit order, who is considered a market maker. Because the market order is always taking an order that's already placed on the order book. They're taking the lowest sell order or the highest buy order. Now, it's important to keep in mind that if you are buying a large amount of an asset in a market order, or if you're selling a large amount of an asset in a market order, though that lowest sell order might not be enough to fulfill your order, right? Let's say there's only X amount of Bitcoin for sale at a given price, right? Remember, you're not necessarily trading or buying and selling directly to the exchange. There's always somebody on the other end of that exchange. When you're buying Bitcoin, someone's selling that to you. When you're selling Bitcoin, someone else is buying that. So if there's not enough people selling at that given price that you want to market buy, you might see some fluctuation in the price because it's going to go from that lowest sell order and it might jump up to the next one. Now, as a result, your single market order may be filled by multiple limit orders set in the order book, which may not all be at the same price. And this is referred to as slippage. And we're going to take a look at a couple different order books in the next few slides. That way we can better visualize this example. Another thing to note is that it's important to remember that market orders are considered market takers since they are immediately filled and they're taking orders off of the order book. Be aware of the fees that may accompany market orders. Typically, if you are a market taker, if you're using those market orders, you're going to have higher fees compared to someone that's a market maker, the person that's using limit orders, who's adding to the order book. So here's an example of the trading exchange. This is on Coinbase, but as you can see here, here's our order form. So let's say you wanted to buy, and instead of hitting limit, you would hit market. And what's different here is you don't have that set price that you want to purchase the asset at. So in this situation, Bitcoin's trading at $33,400. You don't get a say in exactly what price you're buying it at. You can only choose how much of it you wish to buy, or maybe the amount of fiat that you wish to use to purchase Bitcoin, or whatever asset that is. And as you can see, this is our order book. This is where we start to see this spread, right? So if this person's market buying, they're going to first fill this lowest sell order. Okay, so here's our order book. They're gonna first fill this the lowest sells, right? So they would first buy this, but let's say they're trying to buy a whole Bitcoin. So maybe they might not be able to buy it all at $33,402. They might fill some here, maybe some more here, and then finally a portion of this sell at $33,404. Here we see 2.39 Bitcoin being sold at this price. So if this person's trying to buy a whole Bitcoin, we're going to see this order get filled, this order get filled, this one, and then a portion of this one as well, because there's not enough Bitcoin to satisfy this person's needs at the lowest price, right? So we're going to start to see that slippage come into play. So here's an example of a couple different exchanges and their trading fee structure. So this is Coinbase, and this is their trading fee structure. Coinbase Pro typically has higher trading fees compared to many other exchanges for whatever reason. Part of their claims is that they have better regulatory security. Whether or not that's true, that's really subjective, but this is how Coinbase operates their business, and clearly they don't really have any issue with this because they're one of the largest exchanges in the world. More and more people willingly use them, even though they have higher exchange trading fees. So here we see our pricing tier. On our left side, our taker fee. So this is the fees for persons who are using market orders, who are taking from the order. And here's our maker fee. These are people who are making the market, who are adding orders to the order book, right? So at the pricing tier, this is typically in terms of volume, a monthly volume, a 30-day rolling volume average. So if you're only trading about $10,000 or less, which is typically a small amount, you won't see a difference between whether or not you're being a market maker or a market taker. They're both at 0.5% per transaction. And what's interesting, it's important to note with trading fees, is that remember, if you are trading for a profit, you need to make sure that you are at least covering your transaction fees as part of your total profit, because let's say 0.5 and 0.5 is 1%. So that means you need to make sure that you're making at least 1% on your trade to cover both the buy fee and then the selling fee, right? Because you have to buy the asset and then sell the asset. So that's something to keep in mind. You always want to make sure that your trade target profits are not only meeting your profit criteria, but also making up and allowing to pay for the cost of trading itself. We see the same on between $10,000 and $50,000 in the trading volume. The maker and taker fees are both the same, 0.35, but here we start to see a decline in the fees, right? There's more encouragement to trade larger amounts of money, because as we see, the more money you trade, the more volume you trade monthly, the lower your fees go. Once you hit the $50,000 to $100,000 traded in a month, this is when you start to see a difference between the taker and maker fees, where the taker, people who are using only market orders, will see 0.25%, still significantly lower than what it was, but the maker fee, people who are using limit orders, will see 0.15%, and this will add up significantly over time. You will see a difference, especially as you're using larger amounts of money and you're making more and more frequent trades. Having this lower fee structure does add up and will save you more money over time. So it is generally advised to use limit orders. We want to add to the order book. We want to be market makers, right? We want to be in control of exactly when we buy in and when we sell out. So it's generally encouraged to use those limit orders as opposed to market orders. But there are times where you just have to immediately sell in, you have to immediately sell out, and as a result you will pay a higher fee, but typically you want to make sure that it's worth it, that you're going to pay that higher fee. And as we see, the pricing tiers, as your volume continues to grow and reach higher and higher levels, you will see your fee structure continue to plummet. Here's an example from Kraken Pro. So here we see Kraken uses a maker-taker fee schedule with volume incentives based on your activity in the past 30 days. This is typical from exchange to exchange. Their fee schedules are built to encourage traders to engage with the market and drive maximum liquidity. That's, in other words, that's them saying, hey, we want you to be market makers. We want you to add to the order book and add to the market, build the market. Because if there are no, if there aren't really enough people at being market makers, creating the market, adding orders to the order book, it becomes significantly harder for people to actually trade and actually see what's going on. And here we see similar fee structure. Once again, they are significantly cheaper compared to Coinbase, but generally the more you trade, the lower your fees will be.